What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X reselling scene has been in the news quite a bit recently, and that's because a lot of people are dealing with it, trying to find these systems with such limited stock right now during the holidays. But it looks like things are just getting pushed just a little bit further now, with retail packaging showing up on eBay quite a bit with some fairly deceptive wording around it. We'll talk about that today because a lot of you guys were emailing me and messaging me about this, so I figure we would cover it. Also, NVIDIA is launching a new video card today after announcing it out of nowhere yesterday. I'm sure that launch will go well and nice and smooth, just like the other NVIDIA launches recently. And then we have an update around the court case for the person in California who had been hacking into Nintendo servers over several years. Guys, if you enjoyed these videos, make sure you hit the like button, helps out a ton. And if you're brand new here, hit the red subscribe button down below. And we're gonna start today with Flight Simulator and a big update actually coming to Flight Simulator later on this month, December 23rd, in the Sim Update Pack 2, where virtual reality will be added in. We can actually go over here to the executive producer because they shared a little bit more information that I think will excite more people, since originally they had planned to do mixed reality with an HP headset through Microsoft. Not the case anymore. Everybody will get access to VR now, and when I say everybody, it will also be open to all devices, including the Oculus family, Valve family, really every family of headset are going to be supported there. And that's great news because I do think Flight Simulator is a game that would benefit heavily from virtual reality. Being able to use like your Valve headset, or if you have an Oculus, any of that, right? It would be great because this is a game there I think you'd be immersed much more than in a game where you have to teleport around or move with a controller. If you have like a good setup with like a nice joystick and all of this, you could have a pretty good time just looking around. Now you have to have a pretty good PC. That's the big thing there. Even like the best video cards and setups generally struggle with this game, but it looks fantastic. And I feel like if you could have a good solid frame rate through VR, this would be an awesome immersive experience for Flight Simulator. So look out for that December 23rd. Also, we have the opening date now for Super Nintendo World in Osaka, Japan. We can go over to The Verge, who had the headline here saying Super Nintendo World opens on February 4th with augmented reality Mario Kart roller coaster. There was a full trailer just talking about the opening date here, which, by the way, this looks awesome. Like, the theme park here is such a good idea. Nintendo, with their IPs and their overall imagination, I think really works with the theme park. And I would like to go someday. I mean, I probably won't end up going to the one in Japan really anytime soon. So maybe when they decide to finally open the one in the US, I will go there. I'll make a trip and check it out. But I do feel like a lot of people will have videos that go up and try out this Mario Kart roller coaster because it sounds really cool. In fact, the way this is going to work apparently is that there is like an augmented reality glasses that you wear that looks like a Mario hat, and it kind of changes and has overlays as you are going through this course on this roller coaster. And you'll actually even be racing other people, and you can throw power-ups to kind of interact. What a great idea. Nintendo taking on the roller coaster market here with their own spin on it makes a lot of sense. This whole thing is going to be a lot of fun to see play out, and that's going to be happening February 4th. So I guess if you can make the trip, if you're able to, check it out. I think it'll be really cool. Otherwise, I'm sure I'll check out a ton of videos online as people go there. Oh, and for any Game Pass subscribers out there, we did have an update from Microsoft for all of their December games. They put out this nice graphic here showcasing all of them. We'll go over some of the big ones like Control as an example. That's on Android and console December 3rd. Then we have Doom Eternal jumping over to PC December 3rd. Remember, that's already on the Xbox, but you will actually be able to grab it on PC here, which is good to see. Rage 2 will be part of Android, which will be their xCloud software there. And then I want to point out Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age. That's the definitive edition, December 4th, and that will be available on both console and PC. And if you've looked at this and you're like, maybe I could try it out, look, it's on Game Pass. I think it's worth a download. I bought it back when it first dropped on the PS4, and I got it again on the Switch. And now I'm going to download it on Game Pass. It is a fantastic traditional JRPG, and it's certainly worth checking out if you're thinking about trying a JRPG. This is on Game Pass. I think it's definitely worth picking up, and you'll get a lot of time out of it. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X situation. on eBay. And look, we see a lot of these systems show up for like $1,000, $1,500. Some are getting up to $2,000 now. But other listings are kind of blending in a bit, and it's catching some people off guard based on the number of bids and even buy it nows that have now gone through. And that includes people just selling the box, like not the system, just the retail box. Here's a listing as an example that says 24 hours only, Sony PlayStation 5, PS5 disc version, and then you can see after several asterisks, box only, no console. Now, the reason they kind of put that off to the right, all the way to the side there with a bunch of stars on either end, is just in case you're on like your phone, or if you're on maybe a smaller desktop screen, you might have that cut off. And what this would look like is really just 24 hours only Sony PlayStation 5 disc version, and it could have been at like $300 because people read that there's no console, well, like half people did, and you might bid on that because you didn't read that part. This actually happens. People don't necessarily read the entire title, or it's tucked away even further than that. This is something that was really weird with the 360. People actually took pictures of the 360, and I've seen it for the PS5 here as well, and they post that. A picture of the Xbox 360, a picture of the PlayStation 5, and they would sell it that way. I'm sure some people bought it, and then they were like, oh, this is literally a picture. Like somebody took a picture and printed it out and hung it up and then took a picture of that, and that's what they're selling me. Yes, people will try this. They will try to blend in. They'll see if they can get one over on you. And you know what? I think for a while, the way it worked was as long as all of the wording was correct, eBay would be fine with it. Like it's still, I guess, up. So I guess eBay's still good with it, but I mean, come on. If you bought that for over $1,000 and you saw what it really was before they shipped it to you, you would just ask for a refund. And the way eBay and PayPal work now is that they just usually side with the buyer anyway. So I see these listings as a waste of time, but there were a few that went up and it sold for like 50 or 60 bucks with $50 shipping, by the way. I don't think that box costs $50 to ship empty, but either way. And the way they described it was as a practical joke. I guess if you're heartless and you want to have a PS5 box wrapped up with something else inside of it for somebody on Christmas morning, you can play that practical joke if you would like. I don't necessarily recommend it because that would probably traumatize some people, but either way, be careful on eBay because people are trying this and in some ways it is working at least to get the bids in. Nate pointed out that some of these could be fake bids or bids to kind of get it out of the reason that most people would see this as worth it. And this was also a way that people would ruin scalpers' plans for things like the NVIDIA cards, where they would just bid them out of control to where no one's going to bid on something, thousands of dollars more for a card or a PlayStation 5. So that's also a possibility, but I gotta say, it wouldn't shock me if people were just not reading the entire title and just bidding on it. Next up, let's talk about the case of Ryan Hernandez in California. Now, this is something we've talked about previously as he did plead guilty to stealing information from Nintendo over the course of several years. What had happened was in 2016, Ryan was able to steal confidential information from Nintendo by actually getting login credentials from a Nintendo employee, getting into the server that way, pulling information about the Switch ahead of its release, and then leaking it online, which at that time, he did what any other 16 or 17-year-old would do. He bragged about it online to a bunch of people, which prompted a visit from the FBI agents, and they actually let him off with a warning there. And then Ryan decided to keep doing it over the course of the next several years, eventually being raided by the FBI with all of his electronics being taken, and they actually found more incriminating evidence that's separate technically from Nintendo's confidential information that was in a folder called Bad Stuff. I don't know why he called the folder Bad Stuff, but it made it easier for the FBI agents, I guess, to find the bad stuff there on his computer. And then he decided it's time to plead guilty. And now he's heading to prison for 3 years. And on top of that, he has to pay $250,000 to Nintendo. And I will say, I was a little surprised that the sentencing was as light as it was. 3 years for everything that was described here, and not just the Nintendo confidential stuff, but the other things on top of that in the Bad Stuff folder. I thought it would have been longer, but I guess he was also a minor for like a little bit of the time or part of the time that this was all going on, and he did plead guilty, which generally leads to some kind of compromise for the overall sentencing and the amount of years that you're given in prison. I'm sure there are law experts out there that could probably explain the overall punishment a bit better, or even some of the proceedings here, but there we go. It looks like the court case is now closed for Ryan Hernandez as he heads off to prison for the next 3 years. Next up, let's talk about NVIDIA's new video card that will be launching today, and that is the 3060 Ti. Yesterday, a bunch of reviewers on YouTube had videos go live that showcased this card, and NVIDIA actually kept this pretty quiet for the most part. There were talks about them maybe doing something else with kind of the high end, and it looks like they've decided to go low end now, but the 3060 Ti had been kind of mentioned in the rumor mill a bit. But we did find out about this at the same time as the reviews went live, and good luck to anyone trying to get this card, because $400, and what we've seen happen with these video cards when they go live is that they go live and then they're sold out immediately. So if you want this card, I hope you are able to get it today. But let's go over to NVIDIA's website here where they talk about the card, saying RTX 3060 Ti coming December 2nd. And according to them, faster than RTX 2080 Super starting at $399. Faster than the $699 RTX 2080 Super and beating the 2060 Super by an average of 40%. The new $399 RTX 3060 Ti is a tremendous addition to the GeForce RTX 30 series. And they do show a couple of different graphs and comparisons to the 2080 Super, and I tend not to trust the graphs that these companies like AMD and NVIDIA show us, because generally they show best case scenarios across the board. But a lot of reviewers today, Linus Tech Tips, Jay's 2 Cents, Gamers Nexus, yeah, they showed that it appears to be faster or as fast as the 2080 Super, and its pricing puts it ahead of it in terms of its overall value proposition. From what I can tell, it appears to be more of a cut down 3070, but I do like when these companies also kind of work towards the budget or lower end of the video card spectrum. I know $400, I get it. It used to be like $200 was the budget side of video cards. Not anymore. I mean, we see cards come out easily over $1,000 at times, so $400 in comparison, yeah, that's pretty low. But 3060 Ti launching today. Good luck to anyone trying to grab it, because I feel like these are going to sell out, and then all of a sudden, they'll pop up on eBay for like $1,000. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Superman 64. I'm dead serious. There was a port of this game that appeared to be lost to time, and that was actually the PlayStation 1 port. Yeah, there was. I know we call it Superman 64, even though it's not called Superman 64 necessarily. There was going to be a version for the PS1, but it appeared that there was some licensing issues, and WB decided to pull it, and I believe Titus Interactive, I think, was going to be porting it over to the PS1, and they canceled it, but there was a full build of it, and it actually leaked. You can play this version of the game if you really want to. We could check out the tweet here. This is from Frank saying, yeah, dude, alternate universe Superman 64, the unreleased PlayStation game planned to come out around the same time, just dropped. First time I've seen a video game prototype get released on DeviantArt. Yeah, apparently there's a whole backstory to this where there was some infighting in the retro community or emulation community where they didn't want to release, but apparently this version that was dropped is dated 8 months after the demo and the prototype that was already available. This appears to be the game that was going to just release to retail. And you could play it on emulators. I guess it would also work on one of those PS1 digital cards you can drop into the PlayStation system itself with an SD card and play. I'll have to see if maybe MVG or somebody can try it out. I don't have one of those right now. But what a weird thing to see this just randomly show up on DeviantArt. Yeah, you can go try it for yourself, but just remember, that means you're then going to have to sit down and play Superman 64 just on the PS1. Does anyone really want to do that? And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Eddie saying, massive update, yet no themes, folders, or even parties. So themes and folders will come up every single time there's an update. If there's a stability update, where are the themes and folders, right? Every time. This was a bigger jump, and you know what? They kind of introduced a folder anyway, because if you go to the icon, it does kind of lump stuff together there for you. I have no idea why Nintendo has not incorporated folders yet. I know they've talked about the main screen being as fast as they can make it, and it was like 200 kilobytes or something is how large it is when it actually loads in. That's why it's so fast. But I feel like I would sacrifice a bit of that speed if I can organize things into folders on the main screen, because how many games drop on this system every week is absurd at times. And the fact that we have no way to really put a lot of these indie titles or anything together is kind of mind-blowing now, considering we're in, what, the 4th year? We're about to go into the 5th year here after March. Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if we're just not going to have them this gen. And that sounds so weird. But what if they gave us folders in like the 6th year, and then do we just restart going into the next gen Switch? Or does this OS continue to carry over and there's no real change when we go to the Switch 2, the next gen Switch? I don't know. Hopefully Nintendo has something planned here for folders and themes, because those are absolutely the most requested things. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Well, there's the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X retail packaging being sold on eBay and actually getting bids. Do you think they're real bids? Do you think people actually know what it is? Or do you think they're reading too fast and they're just throwing a bid on there hoping they win a PS5 and instead they get a cardboard box? Also, what about the NVIDIA 3060 Ti? Are you getting one today? Do you have any confidence that the launch will go even halfway decent? Let me know about that, guys, down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.